Today, our big conversation centers around this question. Why do we let ourselves go when we know deep down the right things to do? It happens to all of us, even doctors. Dr. John Ellis knew the health consequences from obesity, and yet he let himself go to 340 pounds.
When I started out in medical school, I was very enthusiastic. I was young, I had graduated from college early, I was like the youngest student in my medical school class, and I really embraced this. One would think that as a doctor that I would know how to eat. Nutrition was a small part of the medical curriculum when I was in medical school. There is stress. A lot of the patients would have on average a 5% chance of dying. You know that everything you do can have consequences. I found after a difficult case in the operating room, I ate to soothe myself. As time went on, my appetite got out of control, and I finally got up to almost 340 pounds. I was less active. I had no energy. I lived 2 blocks from the subway station. I tended to avoid it because I didn't want to climb the stairs. I had sleep apnea, I had prediabetes, I had high blood pressure. So being in the operating room was increasingly difficult for me to take care of my patients, given my size and the need to bend. I really hit rock bottom. At that point, I realized I really needed to hang up my scrubs. My lifestyle was really on a road to an early death. I spent years taking care of patients and saving lives, and I realized it was time to save my own.
Now, I wanted to meet John because a lot of doctors, myself included, just don't have firsthand understanding of what's going on with their patients who are struggling with their weight. So, let's meet Dr. John Ellis. I don't usually do this with doctors, but this is unbelievable. Look at this. I mean, that is really spectacular.
Thank you.
I saw the pictures of you from before. I wasn't allowed to see John before, by the way. They wanted to surprise me. But come have a seat.
Thank you.
So I got to say, I was curious about your story, and I learned that most folks, have aha moments on the scale or in some weird location. You had yours in a restaurant.
I had mine in a restaurant here in New York City. Now imagine this. It's a couple of days before Christmas. I'm with my family. We're sitting in the restaurant looking at the ice skaters, looking at the tree, or at least we're getting ready to sit down. Everyone gets in their chairs, I get in mine, and I smash the chair and fall to the floor. And a hush came over the restaurant. People gasped. Are you okay? I was hurt. My feelings were hurt. I mean, I was physically okay. And I kind of stormed out. They had to come after me and try to console me. Sure. And that was one moment when I said, if I don't change what I'm doing, I'm not going to be here.
So, John, doctor to doctor, when you were talking to patients about health issues, especially about weight issues, how'd you feel?
I'd feel a little embarrassed sometimes to be talking to people and saying, because, you have a lot of extra weight here or pressing on your lungs, there may be problems, and knowing that this might be true for myself. And I'd give lectures on this stuff. One of my friends listened to one of my lectures on tape. She called me up and said, John, you better take care of yourself.
Well, this season, I'm going to be clear about this. We're bringing healthy back. That's the mantra. We can dance it out. We can speak it out. There's many ways of getting the message out there. We want to focus on little steps that all of us can do. Mm-hmm. Everybody. Little steps that when they add up can mean big results. So I wonder if you don't mind walking us through some of the small steps that resulted from that man becoming this man. Come on over. The first step to losing weight obviously has to come with making some changes. You lost 125 pounds.
Correct. 125, 130. Depends on the day. I weigh myself every day.
You do.
Not everyone does, but I do.
So give me a sort of a brief outline. What was the first thing you did to make a difference?
Well, you see all this wonderful cheese here? This is something that I just adored.
Yeah, it smells great.
I just adored. And I realized, and I was taught this actually, I was told, John, you'd be better off eating a ribeye steak every day than eating all the fat that's in this cheese. And so one of the things I started to do was seriously cut back on cheese and eventually gave it up. And, this was my issue. I'm not saying this is everyone's issue, but this was an issue for me.
All right. So the second big tip that you want to offer folks is about structure. Now, Dr. John's journey, like many of ours, has to deal with some deep-seated changes in relationships you have with stuff, including with food. So how did you figure out what structure you needed for your own life?
A couple of things that I was taught and that I learned is that, number one, I couldn't go hungry. I used to go hungry in the morning and think, I'm not going to eat today. And then, of course, that'd all fall apart by night, by eating the pizza. So one of the things I eat, believe it or not, 2 pounds of green vegetables a day. And I learned to cook in advance. I learned to shop. I learned if I didn't make my food or be very clear about ordering in a restaurant that I was going to get bad stuff in there. And so, try to keep on a schedule. It can be hard, but I learned how to bulk cook, make sure I got stuff in the freezer so that I have good choices.
Whatever those structural tools you need, this is why people have weight loss groups they belong to, right? They need to have some type of a program with some really concrete structure to it. All right, the third step in Dr. John's journey was about having a buddy. Now, a lot of folks who put on the kind of weight you put on especially are emotional eaters.
That's true, and we know that people who, if their buddies are, in the same boat, that may be. These are pictures of my best friend. There's Dr. Wallace Jenkins, who's up in Westchester. My college classmate, best friends for 40 years.
Good for you.
And, it's not so much, I do encourage people to work in groups, but he wasn't my weight loss buddy, he was my buddy.
Yeah.
All right, and so when it came time to the emotional eating, one of the things I learned, I'd pick up the phone, Wally, what's up? And we'd talk. And I have to thank his wife, Geneva, and his daughter, Tia, for allowing me to share him in their life.
It's the fabric that's always held us together. Listen, the biggest tools we throw away are the people around us.
Yeah.
Folks that can really help us. All right, so you told me in that little piece that you had pre-diabetes, you had blood pressure problems, you had sleep apnea. How are you dealing with all those issues now?
I'm blessed. The pre-diabetes is gone. The knee pain, I didn't mention that before, the knee pain is gone. The sleep apnea, I used to have to wear that breathing machine. Don't have to do that anymore. High cholesterol, gone, changing the way that I eat. And so all of these health problems, for the most part, have gone away. You can see the difference.
Yeah.
And so I'm 56 now. When I was 50, I thought I was headed towards an early death and in some ways felt powerless to change it. And I thought, well, I'm going to try and get some training and change my habits. So at 50, I didn't think I could do this. But it took me 1.5 years to lose the weight. 1 foot in front of the other. In some ways, simple, though not always easy.
Doctor, you're a true inspiration.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming around. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on new videos to live the good life.